Welcome back everyone in today's lecture on joins. Today we are going to discuss on left outer join, which is also known as left join. It is one of the most important and conceptual topic in SQL. Most of the questions in interview or the task in real life work belongs to this particular topic. So please pay attention because by the end of this lecture you will have an in-depth intuition about the left join and you will have a complete understanding that why do we use it and what is the correct way of using it. And once you understand left join, it will become very easy and simple for you to understand right join. So without any delay, let's jump into the theory part first. We will try to understand the concept of left join with the help of this diagram over here. Assume two tables, table A which is on the left side and table B which is on the right side. And you have been given a task to fetch all the data, all the records from the left side of the table, which is table A, and from table B, which is on the right side, you are allowed to fetch only those values which is overlapping with this table A. That means any values coming from this side which is not in an intersection with table A is not allowed to be included in the final output. And the only part marked in red should be there in the final output of your SQL query. Let's try to understand this with an example over here. So we have discussed earlier about these two tables, which is planned and purchased. On the left hand side we have the planned table that contains few records which is not there in the right side of the table. Also contains few records which are common for both the tables, and on the right hand side we have few records which is exclusive of the left hand side table. And let's say that you have been given a task to fetch all these records from the left hand side of table, and the records are allowed from the right side of table only if they are a part of the left hand side of the table, which is this planned table over here. And in order to fetch this particular output, the left join comes into the picture. Now let's have a look at the syntax. It is going to be very similar than what we have discussed earlier with inner join and full outer join. So we are saying select everything, or you can also mention the specific columns that you want over here from the left hand side of table which is planned, and then apply a left join on the right hand side of the table which is purchased on the column which is equivalent to the column from the right hand side of the table, which means this column should be common in both the tables. Also keep in mind that the order for both the tables over here matters a lot. So you cannot swap the order of planned and purchased table, which means the order of the left hand side and right hand side table. We were allowed to do that in the previous two joins, which were inner join and full outer join. But in terms of left join or even in right join, the order matters a lot. And since we are worried about the data from the left hand side of table, which is planned table, it should come first, and then we apply the left join, and then we mention the right side of the table. Now let's go ahead and see a demonstration on pgadmin tool. So for demonstration purpose, I am going to use these two tables, which is film and inventory. Let's go ahead and see the details from the first table, and it has these many columns: film ID, title, description, and so on. And before we go ahead and see the details from the second table, pay attention to this film ID table because this is going to be common in both the tables. So I'll select this query and then hit execute. So the second table has 4 columns, and as I said, film ID column is the common column in both the tables. And now let's go ahead and see the syntax for the left join query. So there we go. I will give you a breakdown. So I want to select the film ID column, title column, inventory ID and store ID column in the final output. So I want to see only these 4 columns in the final output. And if you pay attention, I am mentioning this film.reference only for this particular film ID column because this column is common in both the tables. So if I don't mention this, SQL will not be able to understand that from which table I want to fetch the details for film ID. And this is why I am mentioning it over here. Then I am saying I need all these columns from film, which should be there on the left side. And then I am applying this left join on the right side of the table on film.filmid should be equals to inventory.filmid, because film ID is the only column common in both the tables. And if I select and execute it, it is going to give me the details for all those 4 columns, and all these details are coming from the left hand side of the table, which is this film table, and the only records coming from the right hand side of the table, which is this inventory table, are the records which is also there in this film table. And this is how you apply left join in SQL. Only watching this video or going by the theory is not going to be sufficient for your learning. This is why I highly emphasize that you do some practicing by yourself. You go to your PG admin and try to play around with the tables from the DVD rental database and try to apply this left join by yourself. And in case you get any error, try to troubleshoot it on Google. And if you are not able to find out the answer in Google as well, try to mention the error in the comment section. I'll go through it and I'll try to respond to that. So this is all for today's lecture. In case you still have some confusion, then I suggest that you watch this explanation again, watch the video again, and I assure you the idea will be absolutely clear to you. Now see you in the next lecture where we are going to discuss on right join, and that is going to be a bit easier for you if you have already understood this left join concept. Thank you very much for your time. See you in the next lecture.